Hey everybody, and welcome to the Wrestling Nostalgia portion of the WWE podcast. And tonight we are taking a look at HBK versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. So we're going back 12 years to take a look and listen to one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. This is going to be awesome, guys. Audio is on the way as well. We're going to have a ton of fun. Let's get everything going right after this.
It's time for your weekly fix of wrestling nostalgia, when we look at wrestling's past eras, from the Attitude Era to the Reality Era.
I'd like to think that maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon's dead, but the fact is, it's going to get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
To today, here on the WWE Podcast.
Welcome to your Wrestling Nostalgia Show for this February 3rd, 2021. And I have to say, it's February, which means we're a month closer to spring. Every day, every second here in the Northeast, we are counting the minutes until we can see a patch of grass. I mean, right now, as far as how much snow we have on the ground here in upstate New York, I mean, we're talking like at least probably 2 feet just covering the ground. And it's been this way. We've had snow on the ground for several months now. It's not like we've seen grass and then we've had a snowstorm. It's pretty darn tough, especially come February. March can even be brutal. But hopefully wherever you are, it is maybe sunnier, maybe warmer. Maybe you have it worse, but it is February, and once you get through February, which is a short month, March can be very back and forth. If you live in the northern half of the United States, March can be very brutal and very sweet. It's got a very schizo personality, but I'd take that over just constant depression and snow and cold. So we have that to look forward to. How'd you like that for the weather report on the Wrestling Nostalgia Podcast? But guys, there's a ton to talk about tonight. Of course, we're going to get to HBK versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. And let me just say, I believe we have covered this in the past. I looked through my recent shows over the last couple of months, and I don't see it there. Okay, I have done so many of these shows that I don't know exactly when we've done it, but I am almost positive that we've covered it. So obviously this is a different take, given that it's not the same show, but I want to give you guys different thoughts, different unique perspectives other than just maybe what I presented before. So either way, it's worthy of a second show. It is just that good of a match. And for God's sakes, if you haven't seen HBK Undertaker WrestleMania 25, I feel sorry for you. You need to. It's I say that all the time about nostalgia. This one, from a wrestling purist standpoint, from a storyline, from an in-ring pacing to just everything, A to Z, characters, absolute professionals, the decades of experience in the ring, Jim Ross on commentary. It really single-handedly saved WrestleMania 25, and we'll get to the card and what it looked like and what the build-up to this WrestleMania 25 match was. And obviously they met at WrestleMania 26. I don't think I've ever covered WrestleMania 26, which was the streak versus the career. But I think that WrestleMania 25 overshadowed it. And they tried to duplicate it at 26, it was a hell of an effort, but you can't duplicate magic. Magic just kind of happens. When you try to make magic happen again, it just doesn't. And nonetheless, we'll talk about WrestleMania 25 in a couple of short minutes. But first, there's a couple of things that I want to address that I did not address in my past shows, of which I'm losing count how many I've done over the last couple of weeks, especially with Rumble. Number one, Lars Sullivan. Gone from WWE. I have not touched on this. Lars Sullivan is no more in WWE, to the surprise of exactly 0 people. I'm pretty sure mathematically I'm correct on that exactly 0 people, 0.0, I want to make sure I get the math right, are surprised about Lars Sullivan exiting WWE. And do I have reasons? No. Do I need reasons to know why he was probably released? No. I think we can all draw the just smart estimation that he was released due to the fact that he is a liability, that he cannot be trusted, I mean, he has been given chance after chance, and he continues to blow it. So maybe he'll go back to the playground and get bullied. Maybe he'll go back to Instagram and just continue to message married women on Instagram. He certainly has got a lot of, or at least a couple of options to choose from for a long-term career. But honestly, I do wish him well. I think that he had a lot of potential in WWE. I think WWE also saw that potential, which is why they gave him several chances. The locker room was not in support of him. The only one that was in support of him, the one that was in his corner fighting for him, was Vince. And it seems as if Vince has even kind of come to the conclusion that he cannot be trusted. Now, again, do I know of a latest incident that led to this? No, maybe it'll come to light over the next several weeks, and then we'll go, oh, that's why he was let go. Or they just kind of looked at this and said, guys, are we going to pull the trigger on this and roll the dice, and hope that he cleans himself up and doesn't become a PR nightmare? Or are we just going to cut bait and just cut our losses and let him go and say, future endeavor you? And they took the latter. They took the safer road of deciding to not have to worry about him messaging people that she shouldn't be, or having anxiety attacks, which was one of the reasons he didn't make a debut at one point and actually lost out on a big opportunity, or become injured or whatever. The number of things that he's had happen, bad timing, just bad behavior, bad luck over the last several years in WWE, could never get going. Regardless of the reason, it's probably the smart decision, even though he does certainly have a lot of potential, and he did have a lot of untapped potential. There's no doubt about it. He did, and it's a shame from a professional standpoint, not personal. It seems personal. He's got a lot of issues going on there, but professionally, it is a bit disappointing because I was mildly interested in Lars Sullivan. I really was. We didn't get a lot of time to learn about him other than he was beating up bullies, which then he became the bully, and we're all supposed to feel sympathetic for that. I don't know, but who knows? Just check for him at your local playground, guys. If you see the big bearded man sitting there, just make sure there's a fence between you and him, and just yell freak, and then get in your car and drive off. Okay, or just watch your Instagram feeds. Be careful if you're married and you're attractive. Be careful. Watch your DMs. He might slide right in them. Okay. I think I made my silly point, but Lars Sullivan is gone, guys. Secondly, that I wanted to talk about is Edge's promo that he cut on NXT tonight. Now, normally, I do not comment on NXT. I do not comment on NXT because that is Zach Smith's territory. I do not encroach on Zach Smith's territory. He does an excellent job of covering NXT every week, and his podcast, by the way, will be dropping tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning, maybe afternoon, on NXT. But it came to my attention that I should do this, and it was from one of our listeners, and I'll just say her name is Lauren, and she DM'd me on Instagram, which, by the way, you can do so at WWE_podcast. And she kind of said the same thing. Look, Zach does his podcast, but I'm curious of what your thoughts are on the promo that Edge cut with Pete Dunne and Finn Balor on NXT. So I watched it. And here are my thoughts. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen NXT and you don't want to have me spoil it, fast forward the next couple of minutes. You still here? Okay, you've been warned. So Edge came out, and this only was a few minutes, but he came out, and the first thing he said was just, magic to my ears. Just pure harmony, like an angel stroking a harp. And he said that, the other shows, there's a lot of emphasis put on the E, where in NXT, the emphasis is put on the second W in WWE, referring to wrestling. I've been saying that for many years. Okay, I don't know if he listens to this show, very unlikely, but I've been saying that WWE often forgets that they have a W in their WWE, and simply, they honestly should just be changing their acronym to E, because they forgot about the W. So Edge comes out and he says that, and I'm like, this is beautiful. This is great. This is clearly something that Triple H would allow, and something that Vince would not allow on his main shows. As he kind of heads up SmackDown and Raw and leaves the NXT's redheaded stepchild behind and leaves that to Triple H. But he came out and said that to Pete Dunne and to Finn Balor, and he, looked at Pete Dunne and said he sees a lot of himself in Pete Dunne, both good and bad. And Pete Dunne shrugged his shoulders at Edge, and he also then got to Finn Balor and said that Finn Balor is operating on a whole new level, and that NXT is what really gave him his passion back, wanting to get back into the ring. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. I honestly believe anything Edge says. Isn't that insane? How often do we hear promos today and we simply don't believe what they're saying because it feels very scripted, it feels very forced. And Edge is the opposite. Edge could make me believe the sky isn't blue. He really could. And water's not wet. I'd say, yes, sir. Okay, Edge. He's so convincing. But regardless of whether he's lying to me about that or not, which I actually don't think he is, he started talking about Finn Balor operating on a whole new level, and that he won the Royal Rumble. He got his fire back, and that gives him the right to challenge any champion in WWE at WrestleMania. And he looked at Finn Balor and said that, it's intriguing because he's never had that. And he points to the NXT championship. And think about that, guys. I don't think many of us, including myself, admittedly, have not looked at the possibility of Edge versus Finn Balor. Because let's be honest, I don't think Pete Dunne's going to capture the NXT championship. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Finn Balor is truly operating on another level. I am somewhat familiar with the product, as much as I say that I hand it off to Zach Smith. I do try to keep up as best I can. And Finn Balor is as good as Edge says he is, and has found a home beautifully in NXT. And I don't think that many podcasters, fans, have really considered Edge versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania, because we always think it's the Raw or SmackDown option. That there's NXT's there, but it's not really a third option. It's not a realistic, plausible third option. And I think that maybe we need to consider. Maybe we do need to consider Edge versus Finn Balor at WrestleMania. That'd be awesome. I think it'd be great. And Edge has clearly moved on, by the way, from Orton. So that's both disappointing because of the way it ended, but also they had such great matches and chemistry. At the same time, it is nice to see Edge move on to see what he can do with other people. I mean, since he's been back at the Rumble, he hasn't done anything with anybody since he started with Randy Orton and he RKO'd him and they were off to the races and Edge got injured and COVID happened. So would Edge versus Finn Balor be something that would interest you guys? I mean, I'm on board, because we're all thinking, it's either Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns. Now, if you're going to put a gun to my head and you're going to say you got to pick one, you got to pick one of the three, I'm still going with Roman Reigns. Now, am I saying that very confidently? No, I'm not. It just makes the most sense. I think Drew McIntyre is the least likely, because you don't want babyface versus babyface in a massive babyface return and forcing the fans to choose, an awesome legacy star that is about 90% of what he was, versus their resident champion that has done an excellent job since really holding on to the championship since last WrestleMania, outside of 3 weeks, or having to choose between, Finn Balor and Edge. While I think that might be the best, highest quality match, the money might be in Roman Reigns, the really hot heel versus the hot Edge babyface. To me, I think that that's probably where they go. Now, does that mean Edge wins? Who knows? I mean, we'll talk about that when the match actually becomes official. I think Edge is going to wait until maybe Elimination Chamber to make his pick, which is also another hook for you to get the network, which would be smart on WWE's part, and there's only 2.5 weeks until the Elimination Chamber. So those are just my thoughts. I still ultimately think he's going to choose Roman Reigns. But my point about the promo on NXT tonight, if you haven't seen it, YouTube it. That's how I watched it. It may be a third-party bootleg, but you'll still be able to see it. Of course, if you have Hulu or whatever, that streams NXT, you can, of course, watch it in real time. So just a couple of thoughts there. All right, well, let's get into the heart of the matter here, and that is WrestleMania 25, which, let's get the stats on it, took place on April 5th, 2009 at Reliant Stadium in Houston, Texas. The buy rate was 960,000 buys. The attendance was 72,744, obviously headlined by HBK versus Undertaker. Now, HBK Undertaker was not the main event, though. I know it's saying it was headlined, but it's headlined in our minds. On paper, what actually headlined this show was Triple H versus Randy Orton. So, think about that. When you think about WrestleMania 25, it's insane, right? When you think about HBK Taker, yet it was actually headlined by Triple H Randy Orton. So, here we go. Here's what the match card was. It was the Colognes, Carlito and Primo, defeating John Morrison and The Miz. Sounds almost like it's a 2021 card, doesn't it? I'm serious. In a lumberjack match to unify the WWE World Tag Team Championships into the Unified WWE Tag Team Championship. Number one, I love this. Can we do this again? Carlito's back. I think Primo... Is Primo gone? I think Primo might be gone, but obviously we still have John Morrison and The Miz. And guys, this is 2009. This is what I'm talking about. This is absurd. We still have this tag team happening. Oh, I'm not going to go on that rant, but this was, I think, a smart move to unify the championships. I also think it's a smart move to unify the championships today. Not that we should do a brand split combination, like in other words, undo the brand split, but have fewer championships and have them float between brands. Makes sense to me, but okay. Then we get a Money in the Bank ladder match when the Money in the Bank ladder match was just a part of WrestleMania and not its own pay-per-view. CM Punk won here. He defeated Christian, Finlay, Kane, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. This is very striking right now. We still have active competitors. We have Christian, we have MVP, we have Shelton Benjamin, we have, I guess I'd say Kane. I don't know, Kane on a very temporary awkward basis. So it's just funny. I mean, MVP and Shelton have been intertwined, not even knowingly. I didn't know that they were. Okay. This one, my God, imagine if this happened this year. Oh my God. Are you ready for this? And this has actually happened during the PG era. Don't forget, this is PG. Okay? Santina Marella won Miss WrestleMania, the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal, with Mae Young as the special guest timekeeper. Santina Marella won by last eliminating Beth Phoenix in 7 minutes and 25 seconds. Imagine if Santina Marella won a women's match at WrestleMania this, today, 2021. Imagine the outrage. I mean, people lost their minds when we had James Ellsworth show up again and to help somebody. So, my God, imagine the outrage. Okay, just 12 years ago. Feels longer, but it's only 12 years. Chris Jericho defeated Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper in a handicap elimination match. It was Chris Jericho versus the Legends. And I remember saying to myself, this would be a great time for Stone Cold Steve Austin to come back, because that would have been awesome to see him stand up for the Legends, and it didn't happen. I was not happy. I don't know. I was disappointed in that match. Matt Hardy defeated Jeff Hardy in an Extreme Rules match. Rey Mysterio defeated John Bradshaw Layfield for the WWE Intercontinental Championship in 20 seconds. 20. The Undertaker, here we go, defeated Shawn Michaels. I don't think that I'm, spoiling anything here. Defeated Shawn Michaels in 30 minutes and 44 seconds. Whew. John Cena defeated Big Show and Edge in a triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. And in the main event, Triple H defeated Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And in this match, the stipulation was if Triple H had been counted out or disqualified, he would have lost the championship. I remember this, and I know this is not about this match, but my one comment will be that was a very, very, very heated rivalry. If you remember, Triple H actually invaded Randy Orton's home. He threw him through his living room window. Randy Orton, in turn, also handcuffed Triple H while he ended up DDTing Stephanie and kissing her while Triple H had to watch. Like, really, really intense stuff, especially for the newly implemented PG era. And this was a singles match with no extra stipulations. If there was ever a time to do a stipulation, WrestleMania is not the time to hold back. WrestleMania is the time to let go, make stipulations, make stipulations happen, because that's when you need them, is when you have heated rivalries like this. And I think it was a huge mistake, even at the time. This isn't 2020 hindsight. Many people have said this, but during the match, I'm like, why the hell is this not no DQ? It should have been. And it was just a straight up wrestling match. That's not a good payoff. It's not a good payoff, but Triple H ended up winning. I was still not happy about that. I think they could have done a whole lot more. It would have made a whole lot of more storyline sense to not just have a straight up wrestling match. But, all right. Well, it is time to take one quick break. But on the other side of this break, guess what's going to happen? We're getting immediately to some audio. And that audio is going to be beautiful. You know why? Because it's going to have the sounds of real people. Real, live human beings in an arena to react in the moment to what's going on in the ring. And as a bonus, you get to hear the beautiful pipes of none other than the good old JR Jim Ross. So a lot is coming on the other side of this break, guys. Hang tight, giving a little love to our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
All right, and welcome back to the show. One comment, and I'm about to press play here on our audio. I didn't realize how big Bad Bunny was. Okay, I got a lot of you saying, what are you talking about? Bad Bunny's huge. He's got, millions and millions of followers. I'm unaware. Okay, I was unaware about how large, big Bad Bunny was. So if they're trying to reach a Latino audience, cool. Except for the fact that he's not an active competitor. He's there as I was going to say a one-off, but for a very, very short period of time. He's not going to be an active in-ring, week-to-week competitor. And by the way, if you're concerned about reaching your compadres speaking Spanish, well, guess what? You're going to be able to understand what Bad Bunny is singing and saying, and then, the other 99% of the time, you're not going to be able to understand if you don't understand English. So I don't know if they're trying to appeal to the Latino audience and feel like there's an untapped market there, maybe. But I will just say I didn't realize how big Bad Bunny was, and some of you were like, what are you talking about? He's huge. So, look, maybe it's just my age, my preference in music, I don't know. But, I don't sit here and listen to NSYNC, okay, Backstreet Boys. I don't know. I'm not sure. It just completely, to me, was irrelevant when I saw Bad Bunny. To me, it was channel changing. To me, it was just flat out uninteresting and a disconnect for me big time. But maybe that was the point, and it was to reach a different audience. So I just want to say that about Bad Bunny. Regardless, I don't care how many followers he has. I don't care how big he is. The fact is, I still don't want him on my screen. I find him uninteresting. I don't feel he's a good part of the show because I feel like he's there kind of as a guest. I don't feel like he's there as a true contributor to the product. He's there to promote something. He's there as a collaborative effort. He's not there to truly, be a part of WWE just to really sell something. Oh, he has an new album dropping or something. It feels very superficial. I mean, WWE has done this forever. I mean, even The Rock at times has come back just to promote a movie, and I hate that. So either way, I'm not interested in seeing him. I understand how big he is now. I'm starting to get that. So maybe they're reaching a bigger audience. The ratings will tell the tale, but I don't think it's a good retention rate considering that he's gone, right? After last week. I don't think he's going to be there every week. Okay, let's get to. Here's the promotion, guys. Here's the promo for the build. for HBK Undertaker. And let's listen to, God, it's so nice to hear Jim Ross and a live crowd. Just take a breath of fresh air on this one, guys.
I am no longer Shawn Michaels, Employee of the Month. You are looking at the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, the headliner, the showstopper, the main event. As I stand here today, looking at my life, seeing WrestleMania on the horizon, I realize I am living heaven on earth. If there's anybody that ought to face The Undertaker at the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, sweet chin music, you're looking at him. Shawn Michaels. Sometimes it is hell trying to get to heaven. 16-0 at WrestleMania. A feat so extraordinary, no one could ever think of replicating it. A phenom, a man who's never lost at WrestleMania. How on earth are you gonna stop this guy? Pile driver. Peace. Tombstone City. 15-0. The immortal Undertaker streak continues. You may be 16-0 at WrestleMania, but I am Mr. WrestleMania.
I don't think I've ever seen a better big match wrestler than Shawn Michaels.
The man who revolutionized the ladder match. I'm the man that wrestled for over an hour and walked out champion. Shawn Michaels somehow. I have never been outperformed on the grandest stage of them all.
My God, can you believe this guy?
And I never will.
Yes, Mr. WrestleMania.
I respect The Undertaker, but I am not afraid of The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels, the time for prayer has just begun.
All right, so I'll pause it there. There is more, but that was the first part of the promo. I don't want to subject you to many, many minutes of it. It's just, again, it's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to see it. So I wanted to give you the promo here before we get into the match. But essentially, Shawn Michaels was beholden to JBL as he had run into financial issues as the storyline would go. And JBL was making him do things he didn't want to do for like a couple of months, and people were waiting for HBK to just finally break free, and he did. He was able to, I guess, again, storyline wise, financially break free, and that JBL paid him out the rest of the contract that he owed him, and so that's the story. And HBK finally was able to super kick JBL. JBL, one of the greatest heels of all time. I don't like JBL on a personal level from the things he's done and said on Twitter, but from a performance perspective, for everything he's contributed to the business, everything he did as SmackDown champion, one of the rags to riches stories in WWE. Certainly the guy is deserving of credit, but that was the story. And we had HBK versus Undertaker, and it was just a brilliant sight to see two guys in their prime, or at least late prime, not in their, I guess, true prime, and they're not 30, 35 years old, but they're still more than capable at this point 12 years ago to put on one of the greatest main events that we will ever see. And I consider this the main event of WrestleMania. I understand it wasn't on paper the actual main event of WrestleMania, but to me, this was the true main event of WrestleMania 25, and really the match that saved the entire show, I think. So, all right, well, let's take a little bit of audio from the match itself, and let's dive right in, guys. This is it's just awesome. Here we go.
Shaking his head with the official.
Meanwhile, the Undertaker sits up in the ring.
Meanwhile, the night gets darker.
I think pull the cameraman in front of the Undertaker.
the skull first.
Oh, man. And I just wanted to share that bump with you. If you guys remember, you talk about scary bumps. You talk about moments that take your breath away and actual concern for the health of the wrestlers. This was one of those moments. This is one of those moments that you're really watching. You're taking a look to see if, Undertaker's moving, if he's conscious. And what had happened was, if you didn't, obviously you didn't, since you didn't see it, or if you don't remember and you've seen it, Undertaker dove on the outside of the ring into Shawn Michaels, but the problem was he over-rotated, and Michaels put the cameraman in front of him, but that really wasn't the problem. The problem was the Undertaker, as I said, kind of angled himself, over-rotated a little bit too much, where he literally did go head first into the ground, and he hit kind of the side of his head and face, and he protected himself as best he could, and broke his fall really with his face and his shoulders and his hands. But it was a scary dive for Undertaker. One that, again, I thought, you think the worst in those moments, like, let's call it like it is. I thought he might be dead or paralyzed. But luckily, somehow, some way, it didn't do anything to him. All that weight coming down on that part of his body. It was one of those moments that, again, it takes your breath away. You are worried for the actual wrestler themselves, the person behind the wrestler, and it takes you out of the moment in a way that is of concern for the actual person again. So, okay, let's take a listen to some more stuff that isn't as scary in the match. So, well, here we go.
Disbelief in the eyes of the dead man. The Undertaker got all that clothesline and more. It was a slam dunk, a gorilla dunk. Shawn Michaels lifted 7 feet off the floor. I've never seen a more emphatic, more devastating chokeslam.
And it really was that devastating. I know Jim Ross called it a clothesline. Obviously misspeaking. I meant to say chokeslam, not clothesline. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it was a perfectly executed chokeslam. I mean, you couldn't have had a better chokeslam. There's been some pretty bad chokeslams in our time. I mean, just bad. If you want to see embarrassingly bad, look no further than Goldberg and Undertaker this past year, or last year, 2 years ago, whatever the heck it was. I put that out of my brain, like most fans. Look no further than that, or Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker. I think that was in 2002. When they faced each other, when he was the American Badass. Hulk Hogan took some really, really bad choke slams. Same with DDP, when he did the whole stalker angle with Undertaker in the early 2000s. So there's been some very, very bad ones. This was probably as good of a choke slam as you'll ever see. And I know we're talking about the selling of a move, but it was the perfect back bump. And I love the way the announcers sold it, right? Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, Michael Cole, the best of the best on commentary at that time. And they sold it as it should have been sold, talking about how he got all of it. And it's true, right? They didn't just talk about it as just another choke slam, because it was perfectly executed. And the announcers just jumped on that, and they should have. It was just a very, very smart move on their part. And you also hear, if you didn't notice, or notice in terms of audio, obviously, the referee's count was very nicely paced. It was 1, 2, and a kick out. It's really been sped up times 2, if you've noticed in today's product. And I don't need to have every count go in as slow as molasses. I'm just asking that the counts are actually 3 seconds. I can guarantee you the counts today for the 3 times they hit their hand on the mat is probably 2 seconds in real time. I don't like how quickly the counts go today. I don't know what it is. It's just the way things are done, and nobody's even noticed or cared to bring this up. And I'm not looking for slow motion. I'm looking for more drama. Those 3 seconds are the slowest or the most, I guess, observed 3 seconds in the match, because you're watching the referee's hand that determines the outcome hit the mat. And so to me, it's like this, and I'm not going to try to clap into the microphone here, but this is how quick today's counts are, and I'm not exaggerating. Go look any match, and you just pick one of the last like 10 years. It's 1, 2, kick out, right? 1, 2. How fast was that? I'll clap 3 times, and try it yourself, right? This is a at-home experiment. Seriously. So it's this. 1, 2, 3. I'm serious. It is stupid fast. And I think that takes a lot of drama away. Those fractions of a second mean so much in a match. And so it meant even more, obviously, in a high-stakes match like this. So let's continue on in this just brilliance, just really Michelangelo of a match. So here we go.
Sweet chin music again. He got it. Michaels got it. That's it. A sudden sweet chin music. That's it. And the streak may be over. But can Michaels capitalize? That is the question. We saw the sweet chin music. We see the results. All he's got to do is crawl, get one over. There it is. Is the streak over here? Is it over here? Undertaker kicked out. Oh, no. Michaels a second away. A moment ago. Undertaker a second away here. Watch this super kick come from out of nowhere.
Oh, and just listen to the crowd. My God, that still gives me chills. 12 years later, it doesn't matter. I mean, just really any live crowd. I'll take anybody. I mean, I'll take anything. I'll take any live human beings in an arena to hear what their reaction is compared to the pumped-in crowd music, crowd noise. And again, not WWE's fault. We're all just victims of the circumstance. But just God, the pacing of this match too, which I know that I've talked about a couple of times in the past, and I will continue to talk about, is the pacing of the match was so easy to digest. Yes, you have the amazing crowd. Okay, you have the greatest commentary team of all time announcing this match. It's at WrestleMania. You have 78,000 people screaming. But the pacing, meaning this match doesn't go 100 miles an hour. You feel every punch, every kick, every maneuver. There's a sense of urgency. It's not just, it'll be reverse, and it's just very fast paced. You can't keep up. It's just a fireworks show. It's not an emotional investment. And these two had the pacing that a lot of people by today's standards would feel like it's slow motion. I love it. I effing love the pace of this match. This is the pacing of a match that I think is the best way for people, human beings, to be able to dissect what's going on in the ring and understand and feel it and be able to follow along. It's like speed reading versus reading at your leisure. And that's the difference. So, okay, let's continue on with this match.
Frustration in the eyes of the Undertaker. How in the name of all that's decent did Michaels kick out of this? Listen to this impact. He went shots hit. Oh! The impact. No! Undertaker cannot believe anyone could kick out of the last ride, as we have just seen Shawn Michaels do.
Well, I do have to believe that Shawn Michaels has the Undertaker's number.
Oh, okay, so Undertaker, again, is in shock. Michaels is able to kick out of the last ride. And you'll notice the finishing maneuvers here, it starts kind of with your signature moves. The ones that don't usually finish a match, but you give it a shot anyway. And then you work up to the finishers. It's just, again, it's great, great storytelling. So here we go. We're going to continue with the audio as things escalate to the finish.
Just had an out-of-body experience. The Undertaker's eyes tell a better story than we could ever. Look at this. By all rights, this should have been it. Choke slams, lash drives, tombstones, and a kick out, and a kick out, and a kick out. And the
Shawn Michaels seems to be unconscious. How did he do that? He just willed his shoulder up. Instinct.
maybe divine intervention. Shawn Michaels standing.
Oh God! I literally got chills watching this. You get sucked right back in. This reminds me, and should remind all of us, why we love wrestling. It certainly drags you right back in to whatever's going on in your life. Doesn't matter. You are just completely emotionally invested in what is happening. And this was 12 years ago, and I still love every second. And this is beautiful. Like, this is all the stars aligning for one of the greatest matches of all time. And here we go. We'll get to the finish in just a minute here, but take a listen.
It's like his body's on autopilot. It's like he doesn't even know what he's doing, but he's doing it. No!
Michael's elbow hits. What a collision. What a crash. Body on body.
All right, so Michaels hits his elbow from the top rope. And then we get to me, one of the most believable finishes up to this point. Of course, there were more believable false finishes The Undertaker could lose at WrestleMania after this, with, to me, the most believable false finish of Undertaker having his streak broken, obviously before Brock did at WrestleMania 30, was WrestleMania 28 with HBK as a special guest referee with Triple H facing Undertaker, where he hit the Sweet Chin Music, which went into a pedigree, and I thought that was the end of the streak. That was, to me, the most chilling moment that I said, oh my God, it's over. And he kicked out. But this, up to this point, this moment that I'm just going to make you listen to right now, or let you listen, I'm not going to make you. Of course, you don't have to. But this moment right now is the moment up till this point that I thought it really could be over. So let's take a listen.
Shawn Michaels tune up the band one more time. Can The Undertaker withstand any more Sweet Chin Music?
No. He may not get it. Undertaker almost fell out of the ring.
Undertaker pulling himself up.
There it is!
Music again! Jam! Right on the jaw!
He's done it!
Shawn Michaels did it! Will live his prophecy!
Kiss the streak goodbye!
And again! Good God Almighty, the match continues! What? This classic is continuing! Can you believe, ladies and gentlemen, what we are witnessing here together tonight? The world is watching a classic. So fitting for the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Legendary Undertaker. The legendary Shawn Michaels.
This capacity crowd is chanting, this is awesome. They are right.
So I will say this, and it did make me believe that the second Sweet Chin Music, that made me believe that, oh my God, it could be over. And then, of course, you get the interjection, the cardinal sin from announcers that always have to say, kiss the streak goodbye in this case, or he's going to lose the championship, which immediately draws your mind to, okay, wait, never mind, he's not going to. It's the cardinal sin. Out of everything that I may complain about with announcers and things that they do and all of that, the number one sin that they have, that they project and that they commit, sometimes on a weekly basis, is this desire, this whatever it is, this habit of always trying to swerve the audience to make you believe something could happen in the moment that you know is not going to happen, especially at the end of matches, or when somebody hits a finish and the announcer that never gets anything right is suddenly saying, oh, he's going to win the championship. He's got it won. And immediately you go, gee, thanks. Now I know he doesn't. Can we move away from that? It's been just a cardinal, unforgivable sin as long as I've been listening to wrestling. So Jerry Lawler really did that one here. I'm not a fan, but hey, that's the only complaint I've got. It's not even about the match. It's the damn commentary. Okay, so then, of course, we get to the finish of the match, which I was rooting for Michaels here. I really was. I wanted to see Shawn Michaels beat the streak, and, well, he obviously didn't. So let's take a listen to that.
And absorbed it. They still go. My God, Michaels is going to try another chance. Undertaker. Here comes it coming. See Michaels in midair. Michaels caught. Michaels caught. Michaels Stone. Pile driver. Michaels caught in midair. Tombstone. He did it. 17 in a row. 17 and 0. Ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Michaels proved tonight that he was indeed Mr. WrestleMania. But The Undertaker proved that he is WrestleMania's phenom. Well, yes, The Undertaker proved that he is now 17 and 0. Man, look at this. As a fan of sports entertainment, I am honored to have the opportunity to sit at ringside and see this. This is what WrestleMania is all about. What an absolutely unbelievable match. Watch that. I thought, how The Undertaker continued on after this crash and burn. Wanted the sweet chin music instead, a gigantic choke slam. Michaels is still able to persevere, wouldn't quit. His heart kept beating like the warrior that he is. But the end was still to come.
Oh gosh, this is again. I put over this match like I don't know how to put it over anymore. So I know you've heard it now, but to see it is another thing. To watch it start to finish is certainly another thing. So you will certainly be happy that you spent 30 minutes doing this. I mean, you could spend 30 minutes on TikTok and blink, and you look up and you haven't really accomplished anything. This will make you remember why you love wrestling. If you have maybe fallen out of love with wrestling, or you have your issues with wrestling, and you may not think you're a fan anymore, you're not sure what, if you're kind of on the fence about watching, you're just maybe going to spend your time doing something else on a Monday and a Friday night, and I would encourage you to watch this. It may rejuvenate your soul with wrestling. It is that good. This, again, to say this is my favorite match of all time it's one of. I don't think that saying or answering that question is easy. It's not easy for anybody. What's your favorite match of all time? It's kind of like, well, I have a lot of favorite matches. This is certainly one of them. Undertaker HBK at Hell in a Cell is another one at 97 for a lot of nostalgic reasons. But HBK Undertaker, that combination is just, it's a match made in heaven. Undertaker HBK, their styles, their personas, everything matches up and interlocks perfectly. I've loved everything about these two when they hook up since they first did. And so anyway, okay, I think I've made my point about go watch the damn match. Go to the network, go on YouTube, wherever you can find it. Don't care. You'll spend 30 minutes loving wrestling and remembering why you love this sport that we all do. And you'll also love the fact that, hey, fans are in an arena. 70-some thousand of them are in an arena live. There's no people wearing masks. People aren't socially distancing. Socially distancing wasn't even a thing. We didn't even know what that meant. One of these days, it'll be back. Those restrictions will be gone, and we can go back to our lives as we knew them. But it's nice to take you out of it. If you want to get out of the moment and get back into some fun and remember why you loved wrestling, there's no better place to look than HBK versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, as always, for joining me here on the WWE podcast. I will be recording the mailbag portion of the show. You guys got a ton for me. Oh my God, you guys got a lot. So I'll see if I can squeeze it in one show. If I can't squeeze it in one show, I will be doing a separate show. Maybe I'll put it in the Sunday review or something like that. But anyway, guys, thank you as always. Please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you have podcasts. Or rating and review, it's a super way to help us. Also, if you do shopping on Amazon, go to wwepodcast.com and click on the Amazon banner, and it'll redirect you to Amazon. Kicks a little bit back to the show, and helps with production costs and everything else. So thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.